Hello, everybody. Steve Grammas, president of LVPPA, coming at you with some information about some really important things which are related to upcoming elections. So this video is to cover what's going to happen with the sheriff's race, as well as some information with what's going to happen with the governor's race. With regards to the governor's race, our bylaws don't necessarily say that we have to poll the membership and get a vote from them for us to support a candidate. However, from past experiences, we've heard loud and clear that our members want to have a voice in that race. And so we're going to run a poll/survey for that race itself. What we'll do with that is take that to our coalition for endorsements and kind of ask them that this is the vote of the membership of the PPA and this is where we'd like to see endorsements go. With regards to the sheriff's race, it's a little different. The vote is strictly yours. If 10 people vote, whoever gets the most votes of those 10 people will be the endorsed candidate for sheriff by the PPA. Now, the PPA's endorsement carries a lot of weight because the sheriff is our boss. And so it's important that we have a large turnout for that vote. Let's say you choose to endorse candidate A, but there's only 400 participants out of our 3,500. People are going to use that lack of participation in some way against our endorsement. So what I'm asking everybody, when you get the link, I want you to vote for sheriff. I want you to put in a poll and vote for the governor's race so that your voice is strong because of the numbers that we have. The main candidates for sheriff are Stan Hite, Kevin McMahill, and Tom Roberts. There are a few others, but honestly, I don't think that they're in the same realm as those three. The three of them have all agreed to come in and participate in our podcast, which is a link that's attached to this email. Please watch that link so you can get a little bit of a feel on who they are. Kevin McMahill is a retired undersheriff. Tom Roberts is a retired assistant sheriff. And Stan Hite is a retired sergeant with many years on the street. When we look at the governor's race itself, there are a lot of candidates out there. And the executive board spends a lot of time talking about who potential people are that will run our state. After a lot of discussion amongst the e-board, I felt it was important to share with you guys some of our thoughts. Now, this doesn't mean that this is the way the vote should go, but it is something I feel that's important to share with you all. When looking at politics, one of the main things that rules the day, unfortunately, is money. When we look at the Republican side, our current sheriff, Joe Lombardo, has outraised everybody else underneath him in the race for the Republican nomination. On the Democratic side, I think the only two people that have put in are Steve Sisolak and Tom Collins. Steve Sisolak himself also has a pretty big war chest of money. When it comes down to it, that money is going to be important. When we look at who we endorse, the executive board said, you know what? I think the candidate that we would like to see our membership endorse is Sheriff Lombardo. And there's a few reasons for that. One of the reasons is he's a police officer. He was a career police officer. He was in the military. He has a good background. And while the PPA was at odds with the sheriff for a little bit there, his political side came out, met with us, figured out where our common ground was, and we worked through those problems. And I'm happy to say probably for the last 2 years, it's been the best working relationship that we've had with the sheriff, at least in my tenure. Sheriff Lombardo is also a PERS recipient. That's important to us as police officers. We don't want to elect somebody that talks about destroying or augmenting the PERS system as it stands. Luckily for us, Sheriff Lombardo is a recipient of that PERS system, and the highly unlikely that he's going to try and change things that would actually hurt him in his own pension. He's also one of the candidates that's going to stop anti-cop or defunding the police legislation. Right now, we're still behind the 8 ball with representation in the legislature of people that support police officers. Now, a lot of people say we support cops, but when it comes down to it, they're passing bills that make your job harder to do. Sheriff Lombardo, I think, is going to stop those bills if the people that aren't appreciative of your profession are still in power and try to pass through bills. I do believe if Governor Sisolak is still in that seat, he's going to sign those bills as they come through. When we look at some of those aspects to the executive board, it's clear to us that the best candidate to push forward and try and push over the top in November for the governor's race is Sheriff Lombardo. That said, it's up to you guys. If you come back and tell us no, we want to go a different direction, then that's the direction we'll go. But I hope you will listen to our insight. I hope you'll pay attention to our time doing this job to know that the only benefit we get out of promoting Sheriff Lombardo to governor is that our state's going to run better and we'll not have any more legislation coming after our cops. So remember, when it comes down to it, I think it's going to be Joe versus Steve. And if I had to choose between the two, I know which way I'd go, and that would be Joe Lombardo. Ask yourself the same question. If it was between Joe and Steve Sisolak, who would you support? The Democratic nominee or the Republican nominee? I can't answer that for you. I hope it comes back the way we'd like to see it. But again, we're going to go whichever direction you tell us. So remember, watch the link connected to this for the sheriff's race. It's very important. You're going to get a lot of good insight from the podcast, from the three of them coming in. And it was a last minute thing, but they agreed, dropped everything they were doing, and all three came in. The vote for sheriff and the governor is going to be on the same link, on the same survey. So please don't do one without doing the other. The vote will start Monday, March 28th around 8 a.m., and it will run for the week up until April 1st and close at 4 p.m. If you didn't get a vote, if you didn't get a ballot, contact the office immediately. We will get it sent to you. Again, we have to have a large number. We have over 3,500 people in this association of ours. Around 3,300 will be eligible voting members. Of those eligible voting members, I'd love to see 100%. Now, that's probably a pipe dream, but I definitely want to see us up around 85 to 90. So when you get the vote, vote, make your voice count, make this survey count, make our poll count, and let's get behind some candidates that are going to make our working jobs better and make our state better. Thank you all for your membership, and we look forward to talking to you again.